Greetings, adventure. Welcome to the D20 Academy podcast. I'm Shiloh.
And I'm Gabriel, and this week is episode 70, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, Review, Part 1.
Hey you guys, how's it going? Welcome to this week's episode. We're going to be reviewing the first portion of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which is the new D&D sourcebook. We're going to be talking about the Artificer class and then all the new subclass features and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a doozy. There's a lot of stuff to get into here. We might even have to split this up into 3 parts. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows with these things? But yeah, as always, before we get into it, you can find us on Instagram at D20_Academy. And then if you message us on Instagram, you can get into our Discord where you can talk to us easily, ask us questions, give us suggestions, and talk to other people in the community. So just to get into our Discord, you just have to message us on Instagram and we'll get you an invite. Alright, anything else before we get into it, Shiloh?
Yeah, another way to do that is to comment or whatever on a YouTube video. We have a YouTube channel, D20 Academy. We just started releasing a new series of teaching videos on how to play the Fantasy Flight game Star Wars RPG system. So if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and check that out. Otherwise, let's get into the episode. Okay.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey there.
How's it going?
Pretty good,
Fancy seeing you here.
Huh. You can see me?
Well. No, I can't.
Oh.
Guys, the new D&D book is out. Totally forgot about it.
Yep, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything.
It was out, and I was like, what the heck? When did this thing come out? Well, it came out.
And it's out.
And we're going to talk about it right now.
Starting now.
Right now. Alright, so this is a player book? I don't know what you call this.
I'd say it's player focused.
Well, it is player focused, but there's also a lot of stuff for the DM.
There is a lot of stuff for the DM because they're always like, we can't have just DM stuff. We can't have just player stuff. We got to stick a little bit in here so we get more people to buy the book.
Yeah. So it's not a monster manual kind of thing. It is definitely more similar to Xanathar's Guide to Everything, hence the names being similar. Yep. So at the beginning, they have first chapter is character options. So they go over the Artificer class, which is also released in Eberron's guide. I forgot what it's called, the Guide to the Last War or something. But if you're like us, you did check that out because that's not a campaign setting you were interested in playing in. But the Artificer class is here in this book, also with an additional subclass. And then a bunch of subclass features, not subclass features, a bunch of new subclasses for all the classes.
Yes, and some of these subclasses are pulled from other sourcebooks, as you were saying, and some of them come from Unearthed Arcana and just tweaked. And I think there are some that are new. But there's too many to keep track of. I can't be sure. Yeah. I'm very certain that there are new ones, though.
Yeah, that's what I feel like, too. Some I've never heard of before. But also, I don't keep super up to date with Unearthed Arcana and stuff. Chapter 2, we have group patrons, which is basically just guilds and factions. Then a bunch of new spells and magic items, lots of new magic items, and dungeon master tools such as making sidekicks, using hazards and environments and magical phenomena, and then puzzles.
Woohoo!
A lot of cool puzzles that are really cool. So we're gonna go over all the player stuff today. So the new Artificer class, well, not new Artificer class. All the new subclasses. Then, if we can fit everything else in part 2, we will. Otherwise, we're going to have to split this into 3 parts. We'll see what happens. We'll see what pace we go at. I'm even guessing that this is going to be, a really long episode. So,
probably.
We're not going to cover every single feature of every single subclass or anything like that. Just go read the book.
That'd be insane because there's literally 30-something subclasses.
Yeah, it's crazy. But this is a big book. This adds a lot of stuff to the game. So that's pretty exciting.
Very much so. Starting off, because I know that if we don't start soon, we're just going to keep rambling about general vague things about D&D. Start at chapter 1. the very first things that you're greeted with is the ability to customize your character a little bit more. Customize what
Yeah.
ability scores you get from your race, what languages you get, what proficiencies you get. And then we get into some more things like changing skill proficiencies, changing your subclass. And so, what are your general thoughts on these?
Yeah. Fine. Whatever. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just yeah, basic stuff that if you wanted concrete rules on how and like to do these things, like if you didn't know if these were okay or not. I mean, D&D is already they already encourage and should encourage you customizing your game how you want to make it however you want. Um, and so these just kind of make it official that you can do those things like change your proficiencies and as Gabe has talked about before, like changing the ability score increases you get from your race to fit what kind of builds you want to build instead of just taking the ones for the base class and things like changing your subclass and all that kind of stuff. It's like 2 pages, not a lot of stuff, but cool, sure, whatever. Do you have an opinion on it?
I'm just happy that it is in a book for people, that they like lay down rules for how you can do it. I've
Mm,
always thought that these things should be a thing, and I'm glad
yeah.
that they are officially now.
Yep.
Just as
All right,
options,
let's.
not that you need to have them in your game.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's a lot of stuff in here that's just like optional. Like if you want to add it, you can, which is
Yes.
cool. All right, let's talk about the Artificer. So yeah, so once again, this was released in the Eberron book, and they re-released it here with an additional subclass. Gabe, what is an Artificer?
An artificer is okay. I'm gonna lay a scene here for you, okay?
Here we go.
You and your party, you just strolled up into this dwarven mountain town.
Yeah.
You're asking around, seeing if there's any jobs that need to be done. Someone points you in the direction of uh, Giknash, their
Mm-hmm.
tinkerer. So you make your way up into his workshop. There's papers everywhere, little trinkets and small little machines that spark with life as they pass them. And they come across this spectacled, short dwarf with, oil-soaked aprons and
Yeah.
paint in his hair as he is working tediously on a small little trinket. And with the last finishing touch, he carves a small magical rune on it, and the trinket sparks to life and hops off into the background. Artificers combine both mechanics and magic, to put it simply. And they use a form of scientific magic to enact spells and to enact abilities in combat and outside of combat.
Wow. Yeah, that was really good. That was very visual. Um, yeah, exactly. Good job. Couldn't have said it better myself. Um, what the thing about artificers is like they do in a way have to kind of fit your setting, in my opinion, because they have to do with more technologically advanced things. But you also can flavor them how you like. Like if you want a world where like there is very low magic, like artificers, the fact that they have spellcasting and stuff, you can explain it flavorfully, like in a mechanical way. Like they have gloves that shoot fireballs, or they have things that do whatever. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Instead of like saying like that they actually cast the spells and stuff. Or in like a lower tech, higher magic world, maybe you can explain a lot of their technological things as more magical things. So while I do think that they work best in a setting like Eberron, which is built around magic and technology working hand in hand, you can also flavor it as you will to kind of match your setting, which is nice. There's been an artificer around in like 5th edition Unearthed Arcana kind of stuff for like years. um, they made a test one and one Unearthed Arcana like 2 years ago. That's like way different than how it is now.
Yeah, way
Um,
different.
and stuff, and so they've been playing around with it for a while. But unlike the Mystic, they actually finished this one and actually made it official. and actually tried balancing it and stuff. So this is really cool, by the way. Just as a heads up, I like the Artificer class a lot. This Artificer class. I love the invention thing. I love the spell. We'll get into it now, but yeah, it's awesome, and I really like it. And I kind of want to play an Artificer.
All right, so.
All right, what do they got?
Basic things. Intelligence is your highest ability score. D8 hit dice. You know, you got spells up to 5th level. You do actually get some cantrips too. It's nice.
Yeah, it's a lot like Paladin and Ranger casting.
Yeah.
Except you do get spellcasting at 1st level.
Yes. Then they get a slew of abilities. Really, there's a lot of stuff in here.
Yeah, a ton of stuff. Also, they gain proficiency with, like, Tinker's tools and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like a no-brainer.
Yeah, we're not going to go through every single feature, but basically at 1st level, you get the ability to, like, create little objects and stuff, or, like, to enhance little objects that you can find. So you choose any non-magical object, like whatever, like a cup or a clock or whatever it is, and you can make it, like, shed light, or you can make it emit a message, or create sounds, or whatever.
I love little abilities like this.
Objects. Yeah,
like,
it's kind of like
it's like going to be super useful all the time, but it's so cool. It's so cool. It's like a little interesting, flavorful ability.
It's like those cantrips, like thaumaturgy and prestidigitation, those kind of things. A bunch of really, like, a little minor effects that you can just... You know, they're not, like, game-breaking, they're not powerful or anything, but, like, there are a couple different effects that you can use in creative ways throughout the game, you know? Which is always cool. I like that. It encourages you thinking outside the box and how you can use these powers. Okay, then for spellcasting, you actually need, like, tools as your spellcasting focus, which is really cool. I like that a lot. And yeah, you get cantrips and you're a half-caster. They have a very similar spell list to, like, the wizard, just less spells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we get to some cool things. Okay. I love this.
Yeah.
2nd level, you get infuse item, which is essentially you can take, like, a mundane item, infuse it with magic, and turn it into a magic item. You know, there's limits on how many you can have, how long they last, blah, 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 blah. But you can create, essentially, a whole ton of magical items for your party.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. This also, so each of these are called, like, infusions. Yeah, so they're like little things that you put onto objects to make them magical and to make them have an ability. So, for example, take a regular pair of boots and you infuse it with some kind of choice of the infusions, and then now they allow, like, they increase speed to whoever wears them, or, you know, you could enhance helmets or weapons or clock, like any, like, all the different kind of stuff. It's really cool. And this book even has even more of these than what was listed in Eberron as well.
Yes.
3rd level, you choose your subclass, which me and Gabe love that you choose your subclass at 3rd level, of course. We love that so much. If you've heard us talk about anything, really, in the podcast, it's that. That's how much that's what we love.
Yes.
Okay. Then they kind of get, at higher levels, they, like, get some abilities where they can, like, use tools and stuff. Cool.
One thing that is pretty unique is that you can attune to more magical items at higher levels. I don't think anything else gives you that ability, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, which is so weird. I've been saying, like, why don't they just have a feat where, like, you can attune to 3 more magic items than normal? Like, just do that. 11th level, you can store spells and items and, like, give them to people, and then they can, like, use them to, like, cast the spells, which is so cool. I really, really like that, just because it just opens doors, once again, to tons of ways you can creatively solve problems and come up with solutions. But that's at 11th level, so that's pretty far up.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about these subclasses. The first is Alchemist, which was a subclass of the original Artificer, though, once again, it's much different now. Basically, like, at the end of long rests and stuff, you can create elixirs, which have a couple different effects. You can create like a healing one, or one that increases speed, or gives someone flight, gives someone a higher armor class, stuff like that. The crazy thing is, it's random. So if at the end of each long rest, you can create an elixir, and then you just roll on the table and you see which one you get. Oh no, sorry, you don't do that. You create the elixir. When someone drinks it, then you roll to see what you get. So they don't even know what they're gonna get. However, I believe you can expend spell slots to create ones, and then you choose the type.
Yes, you can. Which is a little bit weird.
It's just kind of weird that there's like 2 ways. It's just a little confusing.
But
I don't really know why they have it like that.
All right. Anything else that's juicy to jump in here with the alchemist? They get alchemist stuff. Then you like upgrade the experimental elixirs, as we were talking about before. They get upgraded at later levels.
At 15th level, you can cast Greater Restoration and Heal without expending a spell slot.
That's that's pretty crazy.
And you get to do that once per long rest.
You also gain resistance to acid damage and poison damage, and immune to the poison condition.
Yes, more of that, please.
Let's
more
stomp on poison
and poison.
More, please.
More? Can we have more people resistant and immune to poison damage and poison condition, please? Because I don't think enough people are.
Can we just give everyone resistance to poison damage?
Might as well, really.
Condition, Might as well at this point.
At this point. Okay. Armorer is, you build armor.
Yep.
And it's really cool. Also, with each of these, you get some additional spells.
Yes.
Based on your subclass. So basically, with armor, you build a suit of arcane armor. Well, like, you enchant a suit of armor. And, like, it attaches over your body. You can, like, dismiss it, like, falls off you or onto you just as an action, which is super cool. And then you can choose one of the 2 models, either Guardian or Infiltrator. Each gives you a passive ability and then an activated ability. So, for example, the Guardian, the passive ability is, like, you can hit with its gauntlets and it deals, like, thunder damage. So it's, like, big punchy punch. And then the activated ability is, like, as a bonus action, you can gain temporary hit points. For the Infiltrator, you have a lightning launcher, which is basically like Iron Man. You can shoot a lightning bolt out of your hand or your chest, like the gem in the center of your chest. And then passively, you get more speed, and you have advantage on stealth checks. So Guardian is like big, hulky boss man, and then Infiltrator is like, more stealthy kind of deal. Yep, and then you can change your enchantments. You can only have one suit of armor enchanted at a time, but you can keep enchanting different armors like as you get better versions. And yeah, super cool.
Yeah, this is really cool.
You get extra attack. You can infuse more like armor pieces with the infusion ability. You get a 2nd level, and then your armor just gets really good, basically.
All right, artillerist. Why is that so hard for me to say?
Yeah, artillerist is a weird word.
All right.
Yeah, this is just weird.
Yeah, this one's kind of weird. I agree. You get you get additional spells. You get proficiency with woodcarver's tools for some reason.
We saw that because artillerists are thinking like cannons and guns and stuff, right? And then you get proficiency with woodcarver.
It
kind of explains it, but it explains it, but it's weird. It's still weird to me. Okay, continue.
Then you can create a cannon. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
A cannon. They can either be a flamethrower, a force ballista, or a protector.
Yeah, so This is like a little guy.
Yeah, a little thing, and it can like move.
Okay. So using either woodcarver's tools or smith's tools, you can take an action to magically create a smaller, tiny eldritch cannon in a free space. Once you create the cannon, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest or until you expend a spell slot to create one. You only have one created at a time. It's a magical object, has its own hit points and armor class.
Don't forget it's immune to poison damage.
Of course. Of course. And what's cool is that it gets healed by the mending cantrip, which I just love. That's so cool. It disappears if it's reduced to 0 hit points. And when you create it, you determine what it looks like and whether it has legs. Which just always give it legs. I don't know. Oh, and I guess in the same, it didn't mention it, but I guess in that same vein, like I guess you can also give it wheels or whatever. So maybe it is like an actual cannon that you want to hold. Maybe it's like a metallic, creature, like a metallic little dragon that like breathes fire. Maybe it's like a rolling cannon piece. However you want to design it, really.
I'm just picturing
then...
like a cannon and it has like normal human legs. Like two sets of normal human legs.
Like pudgy, like pink little baby legs sticking out the side. That's good. And then, like you said, you can either choose it to be a flamethrower, force ballista, or protector. Each one has a different ability. Flamethrower is like burning hands. Force ballista is like a really long range, gun. And then protector like creates a shield, kind of. Not really.
Not really. It gives temporary hit points instead of being a shield, which it should be.
Okay, that's what we were saying. So it gives like temporary hit points to people around it or whatever. I don't care. What I think it should be is like a force shield. And so you can have a little like force shield on wheels, and like you and your team can like go behind it as you're like pushing forward in a battle. Like that's so much cooler than 10 hit points. I mean, you can explain it in that way, I guess, like flavorfully, but
yeah,
I think that's way cooler. And then like it has a certain kind of like facing or whatever, and can provide half cover or full cover or whatever. Like that's cooler to me. At 5th level, dude, arcane firearm. So you can turn a wand, staff, or a rod into an arcane firearm. You use your woodcarver's tools to carve sigils into a wand, staff, or a rod. And it turns into a gun, basically. So when you shoot spells from it, it's like, and it deals more damage. That's it. It's just like imagine like you're holding a wand and then like, firebolt! And it's like, and it like shoots a shotgun blast. That's what I'm imagining, basically.
Whoa,
or like
I just had a
you put
idea.
Wait, can I finish my thought real quick?
No.
Okay, I'm picturing Gandalf. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He raises up his staff, and it has a scope on it. He's holding it up like a rifle, and he's looking through the scope. And he fires magical blast out of his sniper rifle staff. Go ahead.
That's way cooler than what I was thinking. I was thinking of a movable rod, and you just carve some sigils on it and start firing firebolts out of it while holding onto it in midair.
Just in midair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I like the scoped Gandalf staff more.
Dude, scoped Gandalf. What I want is like, I'm gonna make like a human, like a really old human, artificer who dresses like Gandalf, and yeah, he just has a staff that he uses as a sniper rifle. Okay. Everything else, they just do more cannons, and then they can create more cannons, and then the cannons are better.
Yep. And that's the artillerist.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Battlesmith. So we get next. You are a battlesmith, You get smith's tools. Not woodcarvers, for some reason, Obviously, they should get woodcarvers. I think everyone should get woodcarvers.
What's really cool is they are more battle specific, so they gain proficiency with martial weapons. And when they attack with a magic weapon, which by the way they can make magic weapons pretty easily with their infusion ability that they get at 2nd level, then you can use your intelligence modifier instead of strength or dex for the attack and damage. Really dope. Love that a lot.
Yes. It's a shame that it gets at a 3rd level instead of 1st.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But they're dope. Like their kind of primary thing is Steel Defender. You make like an animal companion, like a metal animal companion, that has its own stat block in the book, that can like repair itself or another construct, and like hit stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's a good defender too. It has a reaction where it can like deflect attacks from people targeting people adjacent to it. And we were saying that you get 2 artificers in your party. One is an artillerist, and then one is a steel battlesmith.
Yes.
And they just send out their steel defender, which is like this metal, animal companion, and like a cannon with legs. And they just go adjacent to each other. And the steel defender can keep like healing it and like protecting it, and the other cannon's just like blasting people. Anyway, that'd be really fun.
A nice little
really
love
cool.
story between the cannon
and
the Alec bear.
Yeah. OTP.
All right. That's pretty much all that there is for the subclasses, and then we get a long list of infusions. a
Yep.
very long list of infusions.
Yeah, you can enhance boots to teleport stuff. You can enhance weapons to make them magical, +1 weapons. You can have enchant a helmet to have advantage on initiative rolls, whoever's wearing it. You can build a homunculus servant. You can replicate another magic item in the DMG, which is so cool.
Yes, and there's a long list
Resistant
of
armor.
items that you can replicate, and some of them require you to all these infusions have like requirements, prerequisites of like, oh, you need to be a 6th level artificer. You need to have like an item that you are infusing, obviously, and they all require a different item depending on what kind of infusion it is.
So, right. Maybe you're infusing a ring or a weapon or armor or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Artificer.
The Artificer, it seems really strong.
Yes,
like we didn't go over
a party is crazy, I think.
Yeah. We didn't really go over the numbers or anything, but like some of the subclasses, like the amount of damage that some of them can deal with like their attacks and stuff is crazy. And they have high armor class. They just seem very versatile. First of all, they seem very fun. It's a lot of options you can choose, obviously. I mean, there's 4 subclasses, plus all the different infusions, plus spellcasting. Very versatile. Lots of options. It seems really fun. It looks very fun. Also, like, an Artificer character. You know what I mean? Just like an Inventor kind of character is just also fun.
Exactly. What I love about it so much is that it has this really cool flavor, and then these small little, like, flavorful abilities that allow you to just experience that flavor in more meaningful ways than just in combat, you know?
Yeah,
You aren't just like
100%.
an artificer in combat when you shoot your cannon. You also create these little trinkets that you can use to emit these like messages, and you can also create these items, infuse them with magic, and turn them into magical items that your party can use. I love it.
Yeah. We're about to see a poop ton of Artificers pop up in games. Definitely. Because they're really good. I mean, once again, I haven't seen them in action, but from what it looks like, they're pretty powerful. They're definitely not weak by any means. Yeah, I'm excited to see how the community accepts them. We're also probably gonna get a slew of balancing things and rules corrections also, but you know. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
All right.
Okay.
It's time.
It's time. So, the first thing we want to talk about is what they have done here in this book is they included optional class features, which I don't know if you remember, but in episode 29 of the podcast, that was 41 episodes ago, I reviewed the Unearthed Arcana class feature variants document that had just released, where it basically, that document, that Unearthed Arcana, for each class, it had a bunch of variations, like features that replace base class features, or just new features that you can add to your class, to add more versatility and like how you like the features that you want to get and all that kind of stuff. And I thought it was really cool, and I really liked the concept of it. This book has done some of that, but also not. So at the beginning of each of these class sections, they go about a couple optional class features and then the new subclasses. But mostly these optional class features are just new features you can get.
Yes.
And they're usually like little things.
And a lot of them are similar. Like for a lot of the spellcasting classes, you get the ability to change out some spells when you get to levels that you get in ASI.
Yeah.
Or if you're a half caster, you get to have some cantrips.
Yeah. I mean, but because they're just things you can add on, they just inherently just make the classes better. Obviously, because it's just extra features. And, you know, once again, this is optional. You can do it how you want. If you want, you want to feel more powerful, or however you want to do it. I really liked how in the original Unearthed Arcana, there were things that replaced other features to allow you to customize your character more, and also to provide like balancing things, and like that barely ever happens here. The only feature, like optional class features that that are things that replace class features instead of just new class features, are in the Ranger. Which, I mean, come on! The Ranger needs help in making it stronger, and now you're just taking away some abilities, replacing it, while every other class is just getting new ones in addition. So, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating, but, I mean, whatever. They're pretty minor. We're going to go over a couple of them, standout ones, as we go through the classes. But, yeah, what are your thoughts, Gabe?
Yeah, for the most part, I wish that they had done more with this. I understand they didn't want to go too over the top with optional class features, but I feel like if you're going to go with it, might as well make them a little bit interesting, and half of them aren't interesting at all, or very impactful.
So, we're starting with the Barbarian, obviously, going in alphabetical order. Here's an optional class feature. At 7th level, Instinctive Pounce. As part of the bonus action you take to enter your rage, you can move up to half your speed. I just don't know what the point of that is, like, at all.
Like, okay.
Like, sure.
Sick.
It makes you a little stronger. I don't know what the point of that is at all. But whatever. Okay, let's talk about the subclasses for the Barbarian.
Alright, the Primal Paths. Alright, first one, Path of the Beast. This was in Unearthed Arcana before. I believe we covered it in one of our bonus episodes.
We reviewed it in one of our subclasses, part 1 or 2, Unearthed Arcana reviews.
Yes. From what I remember back then, from what I've seen here, it's pretty cool. But it has some weird things. With the Infectious Fury at 10th level. So basically, you can, like, partially transform while you're raging into some sort of bestial manner. You know, you get, like, a bite attack, and your mouth, you know, transforms into a bestial muzzle, or great mandibles, or your claws, your hands transform into claws, or you grow this lashing spiny tail.
Yep.
Which is actually insanely good. The tail's insanely good.
Yeah, so basically, every time you enter a rage, you can just choose if you want to get a bite, a claw, or a tail power during that battle, or while you're, during that rage. And they're all a little bit different. They're all pretty cool. So, like, bite, deals some damage and heals you a little bit. Claws deal less damage, but they're, light attacks, so you can attack with an action and a bonus action. And then tail has reach and deals as much damage as the bite. And also, you can use your reaction to roll a d8 and apply the bonus to your armor class.
With no limit on how many times you can use it.
So, you get this additional attack, which it has reach, and it deals 1d8 piercing damage. But also, if a creature you can see within 10 feet, if you hit you with an attack, you can use your reaction to add a d8 to your armor class. Now, this isn't, like, super crazy, like, game-breakingly strong. It's just more powerful than the bite and the claws.
Yeah, that's the problem with it. But I'm hoping that this sees a balancing update. But then again, the Paladin class exists. Alright, moving on. 6th level, they get this cool little ability where every time they finish a short...
Oh, I love this.
Or, I believe it's when you finish a short or long rest, you can choose to get, like, a swimming speed and breathe underwater, or a climbing speed, or something that makes you, extend your jump range. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Allows you to switch it up when you want the different option, and it fits with the whole bestial thing.
Yeah, I really like it. It makes it so that... like it's kind of like prepared spellcasters, because like what you're getting into the next day, kind of the next part of the adventure, and so you build the spells you have prepared around that. This is the same kind of case. Okay, like we're gonna go into near water, so let me maybe attune to the water thing, or maybe climbing is gonna be useful, or jumping is gonna be useful, and so you can kind of attune to that. What I like is that typically in the player's handbook, abilities like this are like when you get to this level, choose one of these to have permanently, whereas this is you can change it every rest depending on what you need, which I just prefer and I like better.
Yes. I'm just like picturing like, start of the day, the wizard is sitting in front of their book, choosing what spells, the cleric is also doing that, and the barbarian gets up, stretches, and like, I'm going to prepare fish today.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, rest of the subclass isn't that interesting. They get rabies at 10th level. But
it just...
nothing too much.
Whatever, fine. Beast, cool. The flavor is strong. just like a bestial, barbarian is like just scary and cool. And I think the mechanics reflect the flavor pretty strong at the beginning, and then kind of whatever.
Yes. But
Seems pretty balanced,
who's gonna
cool
even
flavor.
get to 10th level?
Yeah, who's even gonna do that?
All right, now we get to the one
Okay.
that I really like.
You like wild magic a lot?
I do love wild magic a lot. I'm sorry. Is that insulting to you?
No, it's not insulting to me. Go ahead and explain it.
All right. Wild magic is beautiful. You know, I wish the wild magic sorcerer was half as interesting or flavorful as this. I mean, like, sure, the wild magic sorcerer is really cool and flavor-wise, but with the path of the wild magic, you can actually use that flavor. All right, so
Yeah.
the important thing here is that when you enter a rage, like every time you enter a rage, you roll a d8, and based on what the d8 is, you get one of these magical effects. And I love this. First off, already better than Wild Magic Sorcerer. You do this every single time you go into a rage, which is going to be every fight. Beautiful.
It's not dependent on whatever your GM wants you to.
Yes. Which is the weirdest mechanic, but we'll get to that later. Actually,
So
no, we won't
weird.
get to that later.
No, we won't. We
This
talked
is not
about
a
it
rant
in
episode.
the
This
source.
is not a rant episode.
We talked about it in the class spotlight on the sorcerer.
All right, so 8 options, but they're all cool. We don't have time to go through all of them, but I love each and every one of them.
They're all cool and pretty balanced and are fun.
Yes.
And, the spirit of wild magic is the randomness of it. You know what I mean? And so, building more of like a fae kind of barbarian character. I do love the flavor of like a more like fae jovial, kind of chaotic barbarian. I think that's really fun. Yep, I love this kind of wild magic feature. At higher levels, also, you get some more, like, Fae-like, stuff. I don't know.
Fae-like stuff. Nice.
Fae-like stuff. The other abilities are good. They're good. None of them are wasted. I don't think it's too strong. Seems pretty balanced to me. And it's all pretty useful.
Yes.
And fun.
Beautiful.
Just, once again, wild magic is specific.
Yeah. It adds this inherent chaotic quality.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't fit how magic works in your world, if that just doesn't fit your world, then just don't have it in your world.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like we talked about in the wild sorcerer thing.
Yes. All right. Moving on to the
sorry.
because of course we only
we're
get
not
2
moving
barbarian
on.
subclasses.
Sorry, yeah, we're not moving on. Real quick, I am very pissed that there's only 2 barbarian subclasses. Meaning there's 4 total with this in the player's handbook, but I think there's also like 3 in Xanathar's guide. But just excluding that for now, just with this in the player's handbook, there's 4 total barbarian subclasses. By the way, clerics have 8 base subclasses in the player's handbook, and they get 3 more in this book for a total of 11. So the barbarian, okay, which is a class from the beginning, with this book, once again, excluding Xanathar's guide for now, with this book, has as many subclasses as the new Artificer class. And the cleric has 11.
And the
they have
cleric gets to
4.
choose spells, and that's just unfair to barbarians.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of that, of low subclass, let's go on to the bard, which also only gets 2, meaning there's also only 4 now. And the cleric still has 11. Okay, let's talk about the bard subclasses.
Combining any 2 books is going to get you to beat the cleric with barbarian or bard.
Plus, then let's add the Xanathar's guide, which has what, 3 bard subclasses, but then how many cleric subclasses? 2 or 3 more?
Yeah.
I'm just
It's all right, Charlotte. Deep breaths. Deep breaths.
It irritates me so much. Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Okay, move on to the bard.
All right, bard. The optional class features. You get some additional spells. One additional way that you can use bardic inspiration. It's not too interesting, to be honest. They get the ability where you can, at 4th level, you can like replace one of your skills that you chose for expertise. Not that interesting, but it's nice. It's nice if you change your
Yeah.
mind later on. All right, subclasses. College of Creation. I kind of have beef with this.
Explain.
All right, so it's called College of Creation, but it's more like College of Disney Pixar animation. You know?
That
Because like
rhymed.
all the abilities are like you animate something. Am I
Yeah.
wrong?
Yes. A little
Okay.
bit. A little bit. Okay, College of Creation, I agree, is the wrong name for it. It's called College of Creation. They're like song themed. It's a little confusing.
Yeah, it's
They
like
do not
song
explain it good.
creation thing. I don't know
Yeah, they don't explain it
exactly.
good. They don't explain it good in the flavor. I kind of have more of a handle on it after reading all the abilities, but the flavor just does not help. College of Creation, you're not really creating a lot of
Yeah.
anything. You're doing a lot of like, I don't even know how to say. It. Okay, it's like musical themed, but it's named that because of like the Song of Creation, which like binds the universe together. The spark of creation. At 3rd level, basically like people with your Bright Inspiration, when they use that, whether for an ability check, attack roll, saving throw, it also gets an additional thing depending on if they use it for an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, which is really cool. And it's described flavorfully as like a little magical like note, like like musical note, kind of like floating around them or something that they use, and that's cool. And then they can also animate items into dancing items by singing a song and stuff, and that's really fun. Then they can do a performance and animate things, and
More animation.
yeah, like animating like items and stuff, and singing and stuff. And so it's pretty cool. Just the name College of Creation just is weird.
Yeah.
But I like
Fine
it. I
choice.
mean, it's kind of like more bardy stuff, which is fine.
Speaking of
Yeah,
more
it's cool.
Barty stuff,
Yeah, more bardy stuff. Seriously.
let's talk about College of Eloquence, which is essentially the Bard. College of
Mm-hmm.
Eloquence, you get better at charisma stuff. You get more persuasive. You can speak to people even if they don't know your language. And
Yeah. It's the champion of the bard, basically.
yeah.
Fighter has champion, which is just like basic fighterness. And this bard now has eloquence, which is more bardness. Um
Yeah, not really much to say here other than, I mean, it's fine. I would be more fine with it if there were more subclasses for the Bard, but
okay, so I looked it up. Um the Xanathars
mhm.
has 3 barbarian and 3 bard subclasses and 2 cleric. So if we add it all together, barbarian and bard each have 7 and clerics have 13, which is almost both of those combined.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. So, that's fun. Let's talk about the cleric. Oh, I love the cleric so much.
Mhm.
So they had 3 new subclasses.
Wizard of the Coast is someday going to receive like a dossier from like Shyla Kanashiro. It's a 3
Yeah.
pound notebook
Yeah.
filled with just essays on what they should
Essays.
do.
You know how like back like in the times like like when America was becoming a country, and like everyone just wrote essays, like all the founding fathers just wrote essays, and everybody in Britain just wrote essays on everything. I'm taking that back, and I'm just gonna write essays on everything, about
You know,
clerics having
let's
too
go
many
like
subclasses.
shout something in the town square later today. You down?
Yeah. I want to put up my soapbox. Gosh darn it. Um, the first one is order, which I believe we have talked about in a
Yes.
Honest Arcana review before. Holy crap, is this so boring. It's super basic. It's kind of more paladin-esque. Makes it a little more like protective level, deal a couple more damage and
Ah,
stuff.
Order is in Ravnica.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah, I just whatever, dude. I would say choose it if it fits the personality and concept of your character. Otherwise, I don't care at all.
Yeah.
The only cool part about it is the art piece, where the cleric of order on his shield he has a wanted poster of the guy he's hunting, which is I think that's kind of a cool little flavorful thing. But oh, we have to talk. Sorry, real quick. Let's talk about the optional class features. Blessed Strikes.
So if you've listened to us talk about the cleric before, you know there'll be Love, the 8th level ability that all the subclasses get, where they either add 1d8 radiant damage to their weapon attacks.
It's not always radiant. It's the damage type.
Oh yeah, sorry. The damage type does change. I guess they do have that going for them. Or 1d8 damage to spells.
Oh, no, that's just
cantrips.
Yeah.
So this just like takes up one of the subclass abilities on every single subclass.
Yeah. Not every single one. There's like one or two that don't have it, but
sure.
It's just
every single subclass.
And basically, this optional feature
damage.
Yeah, this optional feature just replaces both of those with just when you deal damage from a cantrip or with a weapon attack, you deal an extra 1d8 radiant damage, and you can do that once per turn. I just don't care. Extra damage is so not even nobody cares about it. So uninteresting and boring. And this order thing not only has Divine Strike, but the 17th ability just makes you deal even more damage. It's just I don't care. Extra damage is so uninteresting.
Yes.
It's just lazy.
Especially like a 17th level ability for like the order subclass. It's literally just essentially more damage.
Yeah.
As a 17th level ability, that's so boring.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we don't want to like crap on order. Like if it sounds cool to you and like you want to build like a character, like that's fine. Like it's not bad. It seems kind of balanced or whatever. We just think it's pretty boring and basic.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just like I don't know. There's just other subclasses that do that, and that's just what angers me is that it already has 8 subclasses in the base book. And like this doesn't add anything new, and the flavor is not even that much more unique. That it's just I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, peace domain, which is like you care about peace and pacificity, but just kidding, not actually, because God forbid a class or subclass isn't good at direct damage. For some reason, Wizards of the Coast doesn't like it. Doesn't believe that anybody would want to play a class that doesn't have any way to deal direct damage. I don't know what the problem is.
I think this is as close as we're gonna get to a pacifist thing.
They are.
Like the only thing that they get is potent spellcasting is the only subclass ability that.
I know. They're so close. They're so close. They have like thing where like you can create a bond between two characters, and like while they're in range of each other, they can like bless each other essentially, like add a d4 to their rolls, and then you like whoever is bonded can also like, deflect the other like get attacked in the other person's stead or whatever. It's nice. It fits the peace theme. Also, at first level, you gain proficiency in insight, performance, and persuasion, or actually one of those of your choice. All their domain spells are nice and peaceful and have to do with healing or, protection and stuff like that. And it all fits.
And even like,
but they
even
still
like
have
the art
potent
piece,
spellcasting.
We've got like this 20-something-year-old yogi who read a book about Buddhism and now leads a class at the park,
Yeah. But they still have potent spellcasting, make them deal extra damage. And it's just like we don't need help doing direct damage. Some people, the point of these extra subclasses, because you already have 8 in the base player's handbook, you're adding even more now. These should fit specific flavors and styles of play so that more people can play the kind of, character they want to play. And obviously subclasses are completely optional, like which one you want to choose. And so you can make one that has no way or like bonuses or anything of dealing direct damage that just focuses on support or whatever. Because if someone wants to be dealing direct damage and stuff, they will choose a subclass that fits that. But some people want to play support or want to play a pacifist or whatever. But so far, like, no official thing doesn't like totally supports that style of play. They either like have a thing where like, here's you deal additional damage or your attacks are better or whatever it is. And it's just kind of irritating to me. Because the game's not about like damage, you know what I mean? That's not like all of D&D 5th edition or even all of 5th edition combat.
Yeah. And there's more to the game than just combat.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a bigger problem that isn't going to be addressed in this book or probably ever. So,
Yep.
all right, Twilight Domain.
I
Our
like this
piece
a lot.
is dope.
Mm-hmm. What'd you say?
I think it's pretty cool. I think it's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
cool. I think in certain campaigns it will be very cool and interesting. But otherwise it's not entirely applicable to every setting, every campaign.
Yeah,
Just because like, a lot of the abilities have to deal with darkness and stuff.
Sure. But once again, that's the point of the subclass. Like, you choose the one that fits your campaign or whatever. Like, same with feats and stuff.
Yeah.
And these are not base player's handbook things, so you can make, because of this additional material, you can make these subclasses even more niche and stuff to fit how people want to play. You know, like the ranger subclass, it's like extra planar travel. You know what I mean? Like the one that's like about, you know, the planes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's only gonna fit specific like campaigns or whatever, but it's in an extra book, so like it's fine. Yeah, they're just kind of themed to like night and darkness, and so they gain like dark vision and they're also more like martial focused. They gain proficiency with martial weapons and heavy armor and stuff. Nothing that interesting.
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
Really, it's just the flavor is why you choose it. It seems pretty balanced or whatever. It's just, yeah, nothing super interesting that comes with it.
Yeah, I think the flavor's really cool. Like, you know, you're like in this like, I don't know, somewhere like a gothic setting, and you're like this priest of some sort of obscure god trying to fight against the darkness or something.
Yep.
With your massive mace or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I think though, it also, in my mind, Twilight, even though it does kind of describe it as more of like a, you are like the light and the darkness kind of thing, I kind of like the concept that like you are also kind of dark, because, you know, you just choose the light domain if that's the kind of character you want to play. But to me, the Twilight domain is like people who, it's kind of like witchers, you know, like they're good, like they do good deeds, they're trying to kill monsters and like help people, but they have to take on a dark burden to do that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of the same deal with this, in my opinion. Like, you know, like, yes, you are kind of fighting the darkness stuff, but like you also kind of have some darkness you have to deal with inside yourself. You're more of a emo, more darker kind of character. Because if you want to play like the guy who is the light and the darkness, like, then just choose the domain of light, in my opinion. But you're someone who constantly has to like fight back the darkness, and like you're always in the twilight, right, in the space between the light and the dark, having to, you know, protect the people in the light or whatever. So like, you know, you kind of get jacked up in that process. Anyway.
As I said, essays. You know, one thing that I've realized is how meh I feel about the cleric class. It's just so meh to me.
Yep.
Like, sure, you can choose a lot of stuff. You have so many choices when it comes to subclasses. You can choose a lot of spells. But I find a barbarian infinitely more interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just down to, you know.
Yeah, I know. I'm just stating opinions here.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, the thing I love about clerics is just, like, the flavor behind, like, that you follow a god and stuff. I think that is really compelling. The religious side of a character, of a cleric or whatever, but...
All
okay,
right.
let's talk about druids.
Yep. Sure.
They get one of the optional class features is Wild Companion, which means they can expend the use of Wild Shape to cast Find Familiar. Meaning they can get a little animal companion, which is cool. I like it. And also, they gain access to Revivify with an expended spell list, which is great. It means you don't need a cleric or a paladin in your party, meaning you can... your group doesn't need to have that kind of pressure on them and stuff, and people can play more of what they want to play, which I like a lot.
Yeah. but I still don't like Revivify. All right.
Yeah, whatever. That's a different deal. But I'm just saying, a lot of groups maybe like feel forced to like have a cleric or paladin just because of Revivify, or actually because of Revivify. But if you take this optional thing and give druids access to that spell, it it means that you don't need one of those in your party necessarily.
All right then.
Let's talk about the subclasses.
All right, Circle of Spores.
This was from Ravnica.
Yes. Yes, that's where it's from. I wonder where I'd seen this before. Thoughts?
So basically the theme, by the way, is just like, decay and spores and mushrooms and stuff. And the abilities you get like a halo of spores, which like deal damage to people around you, and then you can like you can infest corpses though, which is pretty cool. You can make like zombies, little infested mushroomy zombies and stuff. Whatever. I mean, it's a cool flavor. I really like the flavor of it. I think it's really fun and interesting. It's just kind of weird. I don't know. And a lot of the wording of the features is kind of weirdly complex.
Yeah,
that I had to
that's
read it
what
multiple
really
times.
annoyed me.
Yeah. A lot of the features are just worded very strangely that you have to read it a couple times to understand what they're talking about, which is just irritating. I don't know. I'm super neutral on it. It does not seem as powerful as like Moon, but whatever.
Yeah, power-wise, I don't think it's interesting. Flavorful, I guess it can be pretty interesting if that's your thing. I'm really neutral on it, and the wording on some of these abilities, as Shiloh said, is just weird and confusing. And I'm always against weird, confusing language in a rule book.
When you confuse, you lose. Let's talk about maybe my favorite subclass in the whole book.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe. Which is Circle of Stars. Which is, druids who, like, care about stars and constellations and stuff. Which is such a strong, cool theme. Basically, you get a star map. Which might be, like, a scroll with constellations on it. Or, like, a stone tablet with, like, holes drilled into it. Or, like, glass discs that depict constellations. Whatever. But, like, now this is your spellcasting focus. Or you can use spellcasting focus. And you can, like, cast Guidance and Guiding Bolt out of it. That's cool. I like that a lot. The dopest thing is you can use your wild shape to take on a starry form, rather than transforming into a beast. In your starry form, you can like shed light and stuff. It lasts for 10 minutes, and then you choose the constellation on like on your body, because like you become like a being made of like starlight and stuff, and then like a constellation is on like your chest, I guess, or something. And there's 3 options of constellations, and whichever one you choose, they each do different things. I just really like that. That's so fun. I love alternate uses for wild shape. And I like this ability, and it's cool. I like the options that you have.
Yes.
I just love options.
One quick touch on that is, as Shao was saying, I also love the ability that they're giving like druids the option to use that wild shape ability in other ways to fuel other abilities, and I really love that because I don't think that wild shape necessarily is super important to every single druid. Like obviously it's important to Circle of the Moon, we get that, but for a lot of other druids it's just gonna be it's that thing that I guess I'll use once every several sessions to spy for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it goes unused a lot of the time, but using that to fuel other things is brilliant.
And then at 6th level, you can, at the end of a long rest, you can consult your star map for omens, and then you roll a dice, and whether it's even or odd. If it's even, it's wheel, which means that in the future, until your next long rest, you can use your reaction to, like, if someone within 30 feet of you is about to make a d20 roll, you can use your action, add a d6 to it. If the roll is odd, it's woe. It's the same thing, but you subtract the d6.
Cool. Omens fit definitely with the flavor of the constellation stars.
Yep. And I love how you don't just, like, you have to roll to see, like, what the omens do, you know what I mean? Like what power you get.
Yeah.
Either to boost your friends or to harm your enemies. I just like that a lot. 10th level, it just increases the power of the constellations. And then 14th level is pretty strong, gives you resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage. I would have liked a couple more options for constellations at the higher levels. I thought that's where they were going. So that's a little irritating that they only have the three options. But the flavor is super strong. I love the flavor. And I love all the abilities too. I just like it a lot. I just like it a lot. Yeah.
All right, and we're like 40% of the way through the subclasses. Maybe not even.
All right, we gotta hurry up. Yeah, we're already an hour in recording. You want to talk about Wildfire?
Wildfire. I don't care. It's cool, I guess. I'm so neutral on this.
We have to explain what it is. Right?
Yeah, it's. I don't quite get the. It's like, you know how when a forest burns down, and that speeds up the growth of trees after the fire?
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole idea of the Circle of Wildfire.
Yeah.
Which actually is really cool that the name of the subclasses they're all called circles. Because this also applies like the circle of life, you know?
Yeah.
How death leads into rebirth or whatever with plant life. And that's kind of what the subclass is about.
Yeah, basically you can spend a use of wild shape to summon a wildfire spirit, which is just like a Pokemon. And has a little stat block and just like it's a little animal that does fire damage things. And you can control it, and like you can use the little guy for little other things, and then you can like do some healing and whatever. It's cool. It's interesting. Take a look at it if you want. Yeah, whatever. I'm pretty neutral on it as well.
Yeah, the only like thing that like really is cool with the flavor is that like Cauldron Flames at 10th level, like when like someone dies and you can use that like energy to heal another person, you know?
Yeah.
Or to damage them as well, but whatever. I'm very neutral.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna hear. We get some new fighting styles.
Yes.
Which I love.
Yeah, I'm happy they added new fighting styles. There's always been more room for them to expand in with fighting styles, and they actually added 5 new fighting styles.
Blind fighting, which kind of gives you blind sight essentially, which is good for that human who doesn't have dark vision. Interception, which is just like protection, or no, what is it called? Is it protection? No. What's the fighting style where you interpose your shield or whatever?
Defense?
No, it is protection. Defense is the other one.
Defense is the other one.
Yeah, okay, so it's kind of like that. You can like use your shield or like your melee weapon to reduce the damage taken by some, one of your friends. You can take essentially the feat that gives you access to a Battle Master maneuver, thrown weapon fighting, and then unarmed fighting, which we needed those last 2 ones for a while now, so I'm glad we finally got them.
Yep. All right, let's get into the. First, another thing they've added.
Yeah.
Is some more maneuver options. Nice.
Yep. They're all pretty cool and seem balanced and nice, and it just makes the Battle Master more powerful.
All right. Let's get into the Psy Warrior.
Yeah. So basically, it's a psionic, knight, essentially. Fighter with psionic powers.
No, it is not a mystic, sadly. But the best,
the
closer we're getting to a
fighter,
mystic, it appears, is to be psionic subclasses, which I guess I'll survive with. All right, so essentially you get a dice pool that you can use to fuel some psionic abilities, like telekinetic movement, where you can like move an object, or to create a protective field around yourself, or to enhance your weapon strikes.
Damage. Whoa. And then at high levels, you can like use like a psi-powered leap, which is like a force leap from Star Wars, which is dope. Or like push people with your psionic powers. It's kind of like Battlemaster in the sense that like you get like these kind of dice and like you spend them on these different like little abilities and stuff. It's just psionic mind magic themed and less powerful, but therefore more balanced. It's cool. I like it. Whatever. I mean, fine. I'm not big into like psionics. I'm not a big super big fan of that or whatever.
They aren't afraid to add some options. Like the Battle Master. The reason I like the Battle Master so much, and I believe Shiloh as well, is that they give you the slew of options that you can use in combat. That you can change things up, change your tactics, change how combat flows by using these abilities.
Yeah.
And by making more subclasses, especially for the fighter, that allow you to do things like that, I think is a big plus. The rest of the subclasses kind of,
Yep.
just continues along that same line. Nothing that exciting, to be
Yeah.
honest. Just keeping along with the
You
psionic
can, more
powers.
telekinetic powers or whatever. It's fine. Yeah, psionic stuff.
But
Oh my gosh, let's talk about the Rune Knight. This is also contender for my favorite subclass in the book. But
yes, this is actually contending for mine as well. I really like it. It's cool.
you want to explain it?
All right, so Rune Knights enhance their martial prowess using the supernatural power of runes, an ancient practice that originated with the giants. So essentially, a lot of their powers are based around carving runes into things and gaining giant-like abilities. And it's really cool.
It's really cool. So you can have a certain number of runes inscribed depending on your level. So at 3rd level, you can have 2 runes inscribed on objects at a time. It's a weapon, a suit of armor, a shield, a piece of jewelry, whatever. And you inscribe these at the end of a long rest. And the rune is dependent upon a fire giant type. So there's a cloud rune, a fire rune, a frost rune, a stone rune, a hill rune, and a storm rune. Hill and storm, though you can't inscribe till your 7th level. All of these have a passive ability, and then also you can invoke the rune once per short or long rest, and then each of these also has an activated ability. So the fire one, passively, your proficiency bonus is doubled when you make any checks with tools. In addition, you can invoke the rune when you hit someone with a weapon to put fiery shackles on them. That's just an example. Each of them has a rune like this, a passive and active quality, and they're all really cool.
Yeah, and I really like it. The fact that
really
you can have
too.
multiple of them, that they have both a passive and an active thing, adding more choice into the game. I love it. It's cool flavor as well. I love runes. Runes are always really fun.
Yeah.
It's just a cool
Super
subclass.
Cool.
At later levels, it advances along the runes and the giant flavor. And overall, it's just really cool.
It's overall really cool. Also, each of these runes is pretty strong.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty strong. And definitely the hill and storm runes once you get to 7th level. Wow, strong. In addition to this at 3rd level, you also gain Giant's Might. As a bonus action, you magically transform for a minute. You become large. Advantage on strength checks and strength saves. And once on each of your turns, one of your attacks with a weapon or unarmed strike can deal an extra 1d6 damage. And you can go into this what do we call it? Form. A number of times equal to proficiency bonus, gain all uses on a long rest. At 3rd level, you are gaining an insane power boost. With these runes, plus this, you get very strong. Seems to me.
Yeah.
Compared to, Champion, which only gets critting on 19 and 20.
Which, don't get me wrong, is pretty cool and good.
It's pretty cool. And obviously, Battlemaster gets really strong, too. But Battlemaster, it should be the exception and not the rule. In regards to power and balance, this is dope. It's dope. I really like it. I really like the theme and stuff. It's just quite powerful, it seems to me.
Yes. Perhaps a better way to balance it would be, limiting the amount of runes that you can have at 3rd level to 1 instead of 2, perhaps. I like that you get multiple, but maybe save that more for later levels.
Yeah. Probably the best part, though, the whole subclass is at 10th level. One thing you get 10th level is that you roll 3d4 and you grow a number of inches in height equal to the roll.
Yes, obviously.
Because you're becoming more like a giant. That's definitely the greatest thing. Rune Knight, really cool. I like it a lot. It just seems very powerful. At the end also they have a bunch of Battlemaster builds. So if you want to be an archer, a gladiator, a duelist, then it tells you what fighting style you should take, what maneuvers you should take, what feats you should take. I really like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's got this nice little small paragraph of flavor text just to help you inspire your characters, especially if you're someone who's a new player. You don't really know what you're going for. You're like, okay, I'm going to go with Battlemaster. Seems pretty cool, but there's so many choices here. What do I take?
Yeah.
What feats do I take at higher levels? What fighting style? This and that. You get all these basic archetypes of what you can build. Pathfinder 2nd Edition has stuff like this too. For each class, they have 1 or 2 of these throughout the class.
The class.
and they'll like have like some art, take these things and these things if you want to
Yeah.
be like this archetypical fighter
Yeah.
or this archetypical
Yeah.
wizard. And it's really
Yeah.
cool.
It's cool. It's cool. I like it a lot.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on. Let's just make maneuvers a base class feature so that. Okay. Monk.
Monk. Monkey.
They have a couple optional class features. You want to talk about them?
Yes, dedicated weapon. This is essentially the reason that people take the Kensai subclass, but they don't have to take the Kensai subclass because it sucks and is annoying and very weird. Essentially, you can use a variety of weapons. As monk weapons, not just simple melee weapons and short swords. You can use a wider variety of weapons and still be a monk and not have to take the horrible subclass.
Yeah, and there's just a couple like really weird minor optional features, like more things you can spend ki on, like you can heal yourself and then like you can get an extra attacky thing. Whatever. They're kind of minor, just more options for ki. Alright, let's talk about the subclasses. Mercy is the first one, the Way of Mercy, which we did a review on one of the Yurei reviews, and they barely changed it at all.
Yeah.
It's so weird and out there. At first, it's like, okay, it's kind of like, at the beginning, the flavor is like, it's like a wandering physician. They help people in need. That makes sense. And then they become, like, faceless bringers of life and death because they wear, like, masks. Like, sometimes, like, plague doctor masks. I don't even know.
Yeah.
They get some healing. They can then spend some ki to, like, heal people, which is cool. And then they have ways to, like, deal more damage and stuff. It's just weird. And all over the place. I like healer monks. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just have a pacifist build? Why can't we just have I don't know. It's just irritating, dude. Just give us a subclass that does not have to do with dealing more damage. Okay. You want to talk about Way of the Astral Self? Because I am so neutral on it. I couldn't be more neutral on anything else. Gabe?
Yeah, I'm here. Alright, so essentially, Way of the Astral Self, you can like summon incorporeal arms and then later pieces of armor that help you in battle, and it's not all too interesting. Like, sure, the idea of it is pretty cool, and you can roll with that, you can build characters using that flavor, but its abilities don't exactly bring much to the table to help strengthen that flavor.
It's just whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. It's
It
mostly
can
just
be
like,
cool if
oh, I've seen this ability before. I've seen this ability
yeah,
before.
it can be cool if you want to be more like a spirit one, like, so you can have like spirit arms and shields or whatever. Whatever. It's not for me. I don't really care about it.
Why haven't we had like a more like
paladins,
spiritualistic
there's now
monk?
paladin fighting.
You know?
Sorry?
Why haven't we had more of like a spiritualistic monk subclass?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know?
I guess that's
I
what
feel like
this
that's
is.
just like that should have been a thing.
Once again though, I'm super not hot on Mercy or Astral Self. These monk classes are very boring to me. I would have traded either one for a balanced rework of Way of the Four Elements because it's such a stronger flavor to me, and it's just a great monk flavor. And I would love to play Way of the Four Elements. Many people would. It's just not balanced, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I would just have rather a balanced version of that over either of these subclasses that I don't care about.
All right.
Paladin, new fighting style that gives you cantrips, which is fun. Like that.
Yep. Sure. Fine. Cool. Paladin. Oh, my favorite class. Nothing but love for it.
Nothing but love.
All right, and we start off with an amazing subclass, the Oath of Glory.
Yeah, this is taken from the Mythic Odysseys of Theros, I believe.
Yes, it is.
I
think
this
they
is
changed
the
like
most-
one thing.
Yeah, this is the most boring thing I've ever read in my life.
I kind of have to agree with you here.
It's
really
so
boring.
boring. It's just like more paladin-y stuff. It's just like, it's kind of like a fighter paladin, so like, you do some more damage and you're more like athletic and like you're faster a little bit. And
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't care at all. It brings nothing to the table for the paladin, in my opinion. The paladin has such a strong flavor and theme in like that oath, you know what I mean? Like a moral compass and ideals that you follow.
Can we talk about
This just
oaths
doesn't-
for a second?
It doesn't fit into this. Yeah.
This has been a thing for me since I looked into the tenets of like all the subclasses.
Yeah.
They are all so nothing. All of them. They're always like,
Yeah.
be a good person. And that sums
Mhm.
up 99% of the tenets that
Yeah.
these different subclasses have.
The stuff in Pathfinder, I forgot what it's called, but like you have like rules you can follow or break. Like
Yeah.
what is that called? I forgot. But like it's all not only for Paladin too. It's for like a ton of classes like Barbarian and
Something
stuff.
in anathemas.
Yeah, anathema and stuff. Yeah, exactly. But like those actually have like specifics and stuff. These are pretty basic. Okay, the next one is Oath of the Watchers, which are people who like protect the world from extraplanar creatures, kind of like Avengers.
Yeah.
Whatever. Just more whatever. Like just protection abilities and more damage and stuff. I just don't.
Yeah,
Even
and
care.
you get like some abilities that help you, fight aberrations and celestials and
Celestials, yeah, all that kind
phase
of
and
stuff.
fiends,
Okay,
those kind of stuff.
whatever. We're moving past it. Paladins are just what I don't even.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the thing
These
you're
are like
going for, if that fits your campaign, go for it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
here
That's
for
that's
you.
awesome. Yeah, 100%. I just don't think either of these paladin subclasses are interesting or new or anything like
Yeah,
that.
it doesn't really bring anything new to the table.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, Ranger.
A ton of class feature replacements. Things like replacing Natural Explorer and Favorite Enemy and stuff, which is good because those need to be replaced. And some more fighting style options, including the option to choose cantrips. Whatever things that replace hide in plain sight and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, I actually like that one. Because
Yeah,
hide in plain sight just kind of sucks.
I think most of these are taken from that UA that others are kind of about, replacing optional class features and stuff. So, I like that. Good. Rangers just need more better stuff and Okay, the first subclass is Fey Wanderer, which is like a Fey themed more kind of guy. Sure. I
Sure.
think it's I love the flavor. I like, Fae and like satyrs and pixies and that whole kind of like chaotic Feywild vibe. Wild magic, the kind of the one with the barbarian, like that kind of like, very Fey vibe. But the abilities are just very boring.
Yeah.
Some
Again,
new
this is just
spells and
another
extra
subclass
damage.
that gives you abilities that you've seen before.
Yep, it gives you some new spells and extra damage. Like whatever, dude. Nothing original, and I like the theme. It's just whatever. I just feel like the mechanics don't super reflect that in a unique or interesting way. You want to talk about the Swarm Keeper?
All right. Swarm Keeper is infinitely better in my opinion, and I like it much more. So essentially, you have grown close with you have a deep connection to the environment and nature, and you have this swarm of nature spirits that follow you, that take form in an incorporeal swarm. That kind of rhymed.
Nice. Yeah, it's like insects or blights or birds or pixies or butterflies, or beetles or however you want your swarm to take the shape of, or locusts or whatever.
Yeah. It adds some stuff, some cool abilities like here where you can take like these abilities like once on your turn they give you like sure more damage, that's boring, but then you can use the swarm to push your target of your attack or
Yeah.
help move you, which is kind of interesting.
Yep. I really like Writhing Tide, which is, I believe, it's like a
7th level.
joke. Because it's writhing as in WRITHING, but what it does is it gives you a flying speed because like the swarm is like lifting you up, and so it's also like RISING, like rising. I don't know if that was purposeful, but that's what I thought it was purposeful. I was like, that's neat.
Maybe I should
love
pay
that.
attention to ability names.
That's fun. That's fun. Like, just flavor wise and mechanically, like your swarm of locusts like picks you up. You know what I mean? And like lets you like flies you around. Like I really like that. It's really fun. Yep. I think the flavor is rich, and I think the visual is really dope. Like
Yes.
this swarm around you. I love that. I don't think it's that strong or original mechanically, but it's better than the Fey one, in my opinion, in its variety and stuff.
Yeah. When I said infinitely better, it adds something. It keeps with like the flavor. It makes it more interesting, and even if it's not the most original, it has some original aspects, which I like.
Yeah. This next thing, I wrote in the notes, yes, Primal Companion, 100 times yes. Because I would marry Primal Companion, which is, if you choose the Beastmaster subclass, you can get this optional feature which replaces that. Instead of getting an animal, you can choose an elemental beast of the land, sea, or sky, and these each have their own stat blocks, and I like them a lot, and they're really cool.
Yep, and it's better than Animal Companion.
Sorry?
And it's better than the Animal
Yeah,
Companion
and it's better than
feature.
Animal Companion, which, isn't everything. Rogues. First one is Phantom.
Yeah.
Which is, like ghost-like, you like your...
You have this connection with death,
Yeah, death and spirits and stuff, and...
So you can be even more edgy as a rogue.
Yeah!
Let's go.
The original abilities, features, in my opinion, are kind of whatever, like... You can deal some extra damage or something, or attack a second creature. But Tokens of the Departed, which is 9th level, when people die within 30 feet of you, you can, like, suck their soul into a little token, a little trinket. And then you can, like, use that trinket for different things. And I really like that. Yes. And Ghost Walk is cool. It lets you, like, walk through walls and stuff. I just think the flavor is very strong. And those are dope abilities.
And I wish that we didn't have to wait to 9th level to get the Tokens of the Departed ability.
I agree.
Yeah. It would have been fun to have that earlier and way more interesting than more damage.
You are D20 Academy's resident Psionic fan. You want to talk about the next one?
All right. I think from what our notes here, I think we have disagreement here.
Okay.
Because you've written in our notes. Same concept as Psy Warrior, just way cooler and with more unique and original abilities.
Yeah, this is called a Soul Knife, by the way.
Yes, the Soul Knife.
Yeah, it's like Psylocke from X-Men. Basically, you get like this
exactly. Here's my counter.
Yeah.
So, just like the Psy Warrior, you get a pool of dice that you can use to do some abilities. The problem with this is that at 3rd level, you're going to have dice equal to twice your proficiency bonus. So you got some dice, but you're rarely ever going to use them. And here's why. The two options that you have to spend your dice on, you only expend the dice if the roll succeeds. Okay, so you can use that. But what it is to just help you succeed on skill or tool checks. Which, how often are you doing those?
How often are you really making skill checks? I agree. How often are you making skill checks?
I mean, cool, you can do it. But, like, when it's one of two options, really, do you want that?
Yeah, there needs to be a third. I agree with you.
Second option is Psychic Whispers, which will allow you and your party to telepathically communicate with each other. Cool.
Yeah.
Good. Interesting. It's free the first time you use it in the day.
Super awesome. I love telepathic communication.
It's really cool.
In games.
It lasts for a number of hours equal to the number you rolled on your dice when you activated the ability. So it lasts for several hours. The problem with this is, what are you spending your psi dice on? Nothing.
You just explained what you're spending the psi dice on.
Oh, on all the skill checks and tool checks and the ability that you get to use for free once per day?
Yeah.
Is this a joke? A joke?
No, it's not a joke.
Pretty sure this is a joke.
The fighter one was like deal more damage, and like that's so boring.
Okay, I'm saying this fails from like a game design perspective. So you get this new pool of things that you aren't going to use until you get to 9th level.
Yeah. You also gain the Psychic Blade ability at 3rd level as well.
That's fine. And I like it. But the problem was with this psionic power and these two abilities, one of which you aren't going to use, and the other one you get for free once per day, and it's going to last for several hours. So at most, you're spending like 1 dice per day. And also, you can regain a dice as like a bonus action.
Oh yeah, that's same with the fighter one. That's so random.
Yeah.
But as a bonus action, you can just regain a dice. But then you can't do that again until you finish a short line rest, which is super random. I would like to counter your argument. To me, that your argument seems strange. To me, this is far more interesting. Not far more interesting, but it's more interesting to me. Because this this is kind of out of combat stuff. The fighter thing was very in combat, and that's fine. And combat stuff is cool. But telepathy opens up so much doors, and it's super cool. 100% you're spending all of these. You are always making skill checks all the time, and being able to boost your skill checks is cool. I don't see the problem with that. You're definitely using that all the time. Psychic Whispers is very strong with the telepathic communication. You're doing that often. Yes, they're not combat focused, but I think they're cool, and I would have also loved another option, but I think they sacrificed that in for the Psychic Blades ability where, you can get, like, this Psychic Energy Blade, and you can, like, attack with it, basically. Yeah, I would have liked another option as well, but this seems fine to me. And it's just, I just want to support things that are out of combat features, and these are both out of combat features, and I like that.
Counter to your counter. My problem with it isn't that they aren't combat abilities. My problem is that, from a game design perspective, I think that it fails here. All right. So first, with the one that helps you with the skill and tool things. So you only use it if you fail an ability check with a skill or tool with which you are proficient. Which, okay, you are a rogue, sure, you are proficient with a decent amount. And then you spend one, and you can re-roll it, and add the number rolled to the check, potentially turning the failure into a success. And you only expend the die if the roll succeeds.
Okay.
So this is just essentially a D6 at 3rd level?
Yeah.
You can add a D6 a couple times to rolls only if you fail and only if you're proficient with the skill. Which I wouldn't be mad about if you had other options to use the dice that you just got. And yeah, Psychic Whispers, as I said, really cool. Telepathic communication, really cool. Really good, really interesting, flavorful. But you already get it for free once per day. You roll the dice, you can get it for a number of hours equal to the dice, what you rolled on the dice. So that's going to be, on average, at 3rd level, 3.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
So you just aren't spending these dice. That's my only problem with it. You aren't spending these dice.
Sure. Yes. And yes, I agree. I would have liked another option. And sure, yeah, I agree with you there. I just like that they're out of combat abilities and that they kind of fit more of the the rogueness. Whereas the other one kind of fit the fighter. These ones do fit the rogue. I was scared that they would be more like damage and all that kind of stuff. But they're not. And that's cool. And yeah, you do gain more features, uses of them at higher levels. More things you can use them on and stuff. Same with the fighter. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I like this subclass. But sure.
All right, that's my only problem with this.
Yeah, I think the dice. Sure. You may not be spending dice a lot at the earlier levels, just depending on how many, how much you're making skill checks, I guess.
Yeah. All right.
Sorcerer.
Wait. First, I guess we should just wrap up the rest of the side. What's called Soul Knife. You can use these psionic blades from your hands. Cool. I wish I had a mystic now, because that was the thing that mystics could do. But yeah, it's a cool thing. I like it. Add some cool ways that you can get out of hard situations, and some other cool abilities later on, which all fit. Cool. I like the subclass, just don't like the first ability. All right, Sorcerer.
New meta magic options.
Yeah.
They're fine. Whatever.
I am just disappointed,
Mm.
The ability to manipulate magic, to change these spells that many people have access to morph it into whatever your character needs in the moment. And you add more options to do that. And they're just as lame as half the options in the player's handbook.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
and not entirely that useful, except for Seeking Spell, which gets useful at higher levels.
Yeah.
Just
Okay,
disappointing.
whatever. We have an Eldritch-themed subclass.
Yes.
Aberrant Mind. Tentacles. No,
Tentacles.
not yet. I mean, some
Not
tentacles.
yet. Not yet.
I mean, there are some tentacles, though.
There are
Obviously,
some
it's
tentacles, but not
aberrations.
as much. Not as
Not
many
as
tentacles
tentacle.
as we'll get to later.
No. You know, Eldritch Horror, Call of Cthulhu themed, you know, psionic kind of aberrant mind, actually.
Yep.
You want to talk about this? Because I don't really have a super big opinion on it.
Alright, this isn't necessarily something that is specifically about this class, but it's more about the sorcerer class in whole. Every single subclass since the core rulebook, I believe, has had subclass spells. And this is cool and good, and sorcerers get more spells this way. I like it. The problem is that they haven't fixed the problem of the 2 core rulebook subclasses that don't get subclass spells. That just makes me sad. Alright. As for the aberrant mind, it's cool.
Actually, I love it. I actually do have an opinion on this. I really like it, actually. Telepathy.
Yep.
Yep, telepathy. Also, like, I like the psionic sorcery thing. I like Revelation in the Flesh with the 14th level thing, where, like, you can spend sorcery points to transform your body for 10 minutes, and the more sorcery points you spend, the more options you can choose. Like, you can see invisible creatures, and, like, you can gain flying speed, you gain swimming speed, and then also each of these has, like, a flavor description of, like, your eyes turn black or become writhing sensory tentacles, or as you fly, your skin glistens with mucus or shines with an otherworldly light. I just really like the flavor of Eldritch Horror stuff. Then there's, like, an implosion power. It's cool. Yeah, I like the flavor, really.
Yeah.
It's actually Eldritch, guys. You know how Eldritch Knight has nothing to do with Eldritch anything?
They didn't fail this time around.
Yeah, it actually has Eldritch stuff.
Alright. Onto the Clockwork Soul. I just feel so neutral about this. Like, sure, it has some kind of interesting things, I guess.
Yeah, I
just
do
don't
think
care.
I think it's I like it. Basically it's like you know, clockwork. That's about, like, order and time and balance and stuff. And so there's, like, they have a little table, like, manifestations of order, like whether the spectral cogwheels hover behind your eyes or the hands of a clock spin in your eyes or whatever. And the abilities all have to do with, like, balancing things. I like it. I like all the features. I think they're pretty cool and interesting, and fit the flavor well. Yeah, I like it. I think it's cool. It's kind of like a steampunk themed sorcerer.
Yeah. I guess you could take it in that way. I really don't care about it. They have some unique abilities, which is nice, add more unique things, but
yeah,
it just doesn't appeal to me. Yeah. Also, the art looks like someone just walked out of Hot Topic.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
All in all, as a sorcerer fan, I'm just disappointed.
Warlocks. Yes to one of the optional class features, which allows you to change the pact boon that you chose every time you can get an ability score improvement.
Also, they add another pact boon option.
Yes.
Also nice. It's pretty cool when you get, like, this talisman that you can use to, like, help you succeed on ability checks or other things if you take the right Eldritch invocations.
Yep.
Cool.
I've always kind of liked the pacts. Also, they have a ton of new invocations, and a lot of them are pact themed also, which I really like.
Yep. All right. More tentacles.
Tentacles. Guys, this book already has kind of a lot of tentacles, I'm going to be honest. With the spells, the magic items, and the subclasses, like, this book has a lot of tentacles, I'm going to be honest here. This patron, the Fathomless, oh boy, is every feature tentacle themed.
Tentacles here, tentacles there, tentacles everywhere.
The names of these features, too, are fantastic. Tentacles of the Deeps, Gift of the Sea, Oceanic Soul, Guardian Coil, Grasping Tentacles, and my favorite, Fathomless Plunge. Basically, Wizards of the Coast watched Campaign 2 of Critical Role, and then they were just like, screw you, Matt Mercer and Travis Willingham. We're going to make an actual ocean-themed Warlock patron after you already have an ocean-themed character who had to take the Hexblade. And let's be honest, the Hexblade really does not fit the patron at all, but that's kind of the option that all the options they had, so that's because we made the Fathomless after they created the character. I just find that very funny. The flavor is very strong. Lots of tentacles, like I said.
Yeah.
And they gain swimming speeds, and you can breathe underwater and stuff. Do you have an opinion on it? I mean, it seems balanced and cool. It's just, theme is just flavors is very strong, so you have to like that.
I quite like it. Lots of tentacles. Some cool things here. Especially like they can like breathe underwater and have swimming speed at first level. Because I love the Warlock specifically for the fact that it has subclasses at first level.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really love the Warlock, but I do love this aspect of the Warlock.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. Good subclass.
Okay.
Thumbs up.
Next one is the Genie, which we talked about in the UA reviews of subclasses part 1. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the coolest flavor. The fact that your patron is a genie and you have that magical lamp or urn or whatever, it's the coolest flavor. The features just don't match and are so random and strange. What? What? I don't know. It's the coolest flavor. I just don't think the features match the flavor at all. Or very well, I should say.
They just
like
have
you
like
just
a slew of abilities.
Yeah.
And
you just expect different features from it. You're expecting more things. It's just weird and random.
I don't hate it too much. I don't have too much beef with it. I just, it could have been more.
I don't have a ton of beef with it. I just have beef with it because I love the flavor, and I just feel like it doesn't mechanically match that, and that's just irritating to me. Okay, wizards get somehow more spells.
And not even like, a couple. There's like 20.
Okay, they have 2 new subclasses. Arcane Traditions.
Alright, Blade Singing. I know. Blade Singer has been a thing.
Yeah, for forever in every edition of the D&D and stuff.
It's just like the flavor that they give here
is so bad. Dude, it's so not... I don't know. Blade Singers are cool in every other homebrew I've ever seen, every other edition of D&D I've ever seen. That's all I'm going to say.
It's... as far as I can tell, it's very strong if you're going for a Gish build.
Gith.
Don't even. Other than that, I just...
Okay.
I don't know. It has a weird feeling about it to me.
There's something very weird about it. Probably the best part is the art piece of Drow and High Elf Blade Singer, just the sexiest people.
Yeah.
Basically, you become more martial focused, so you can gain proficiency in a dueling, one-handed melee weapon, and then you get extra attack, and a lot of the features are very short and just so basic, like just dealing additional damage on weapon attacks to your intelligence modifier. What is up with that? The Blade Song, which is the cool thing you get at 2nd level, is you begin a song for a minute, and during it you gain higher AC and bonus to acrobatics checks and stuff. It's fine. It makes it... It's kind of like an Eldritch Knight, though. It's just kind of like a fighter-wizard combo. The flavor is just so weird. Because you get so many things, like bonuses to damage or AC equal to your intelligence modifier, and then the feature is named Blade Song, or Song of Defense, or Song of Victory. And it's like, what? What? It's weird because it should be a bard subclass. Because it has to do with song and music and stuff. because the intelligence bonus to things makes no sense because it should be charisma. But then at that point, it's just very similar to the valor subclass if it's for a bard. And then it just begs the question if this should even exist at all. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know. I just feel so weird about it. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily have
I
an
just feel
opinion. I just...
it's like the opposite of an Eldritch Knight. A wizard with a fighter, with a dash of fighter rather than a fighter with a dash of wizard.
Sure.
I don't know. It's just kind of strange.
Alright, I'm gonna be honest. I totally neglected to read this last subclass.
We have read it before.
We have?
In one of the UA reviews.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Order of Scribes. This is the one with like the magical quill and the awakened spell book.
You're right, you're right.
I love this one. I adore this. It's like for a very bookish wizard, you know, it's just all themed around like books and quills and spells, and it's just awesome. I just really like it.
Pretty cool. I can't believe I totally forgot to look at this one whatsoever.
Read it.
I saw the blades and like, okay, read through that one briefly, and I just did not look down. Apparently.
Yeah. Okay. That's all the subclasses. We've been recording for over an hour and a half. Real quick, before some quick finishing thoughts on these subclasses.
There are some gems.
There are some gems. We are very negative, I feel like.
Yeah, I think we're too negative on these things.
We're super negative when it comes to reviewing D&D stuff, and we love the game so much, and we love Wizards of the Coast, and they've done such a great job in so many things that we want really awesome things. You know what I mean? And obviously they can't always produce like the most perfect things or whatever, and that's fine. And we do like a lot of these.
Yeah.
A lot of the time we sounded very negative, but a lot of these are fine and basic. And once again, D&D is not about the mechanics and stuff. It is about the themes and, how you want to build your character. That's more important. And we are pretty harsh critics on things like balance or whatever. But, yeah, I think there are some gems in here for sure.
All right. Favorite ones and least favorite ones.
Okay. Oh, that's hard for both. There's a lot I don't like and a lot I do like. Okay. Stars, the Druid Circle of Stars. Like I said, I really like that one. I love Rune at Night. The Red Swarm Ranger is cool, I guess, but probably not my favorite. Fathomless, I do like the Fathomless one for the Warlock. I think I'm gonna have to go with Stars. What about you?
Alright, my favorite ones are probably... Top 3 are Stars, the Wild Magic, Barbarian, and the Rune Knight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with the Wild Magic. I really like it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm a fan of the Barbarian class. I don't know, it just appeals to me, and I really like the way that they have manifested Wild Magic this time around. I think it's really cool and interesting.
Yeah, I also think that it just seems leagues better because they flopped Wild Magic with the Sorcerer. So yeah, I see it. I see it with ruby tinted glasses because I'm like, ooh yes, a good Wild Magic. Okay. Also, once again, I'm just still irritated about the classes that have so little subclasses compared to the ones that have so many. I just would like some more balancing out in that regard.
I wonder if it's due to like statistics, like on what people play.
Yeah, I mean, I know people play like tons of clerics and stuff, so
Yeah.
And wizards, which is why they have a lot. I understand that. It's whatever. Okay, one thing we just didn't really mention at all. Like the other 5 ebooks, like Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, everything but the core books, each of them has like like a flavor. So this one was like written by Tasha, and this little story about it is like she's been like collecting things about her journey. Same with like Volo's Guide to Monsters, right? He's been collecting different like he's been going around studying different monsters around the world, and these are his little notes. And in like all these books and Xanathar's Guide, it's like his collection of things that he's acquired over the years. And in all these books, they have like little like notes that they put commenting on the various different like whether it's subclasses or monsters or whatever. And usually they're like, whatever. Like, they're not that bad. They don't really add anything at all. But, oh
But
my gosh, is this one insufferable.
Tasha is so annoying.
Tasha needs to shut up. She has high Karen energy. um, she comments at the beginning of, I think, every single subclass. Like a sentence-long little comment. And all of them are attempts at jokes.
Mm-hmm. And they're all annoying.
And
Okay, I
none
figured,
of them
I figured
land.
Tasha out. So
Yeah.
you're saying Karen energy, and I agree. I was like, oh, it's a little bit something different. All right, so she's a millennial Karen, okay?
Yeah.
So in like 15 years from now, Karen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's what she is.
Yeah. Okay, we're just gonna read you just a couple so you understand what we're talking about. At the beginning of the Clockwork Soul, let me read this too.
That's the one I was going to talk about.
This is her little note. I rarely tell people I speak Modrone because, invariably, they just want to learn how to curse. So let's get this out of the way now. Lesson 1. Beep boop and other slams.
That is exactly the one that I was going to talk about. How dare you steal my tidbit.
Okay. Soul Knife. For the Rogue Soul Knife one. I also have the ability to manifest my thoughts in ways that cut people. I call this power words. I hate it because it undermines the coolness of the flavor. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. For Fey
Like,
Wanderer,
if you're
do you think
Yeah,
that
go
Killed is a vital part of the Fey Wandering aesthetic? And if not, why are you so wrong?
It's a Tumblr post.
What?
It's a Tumblr post by a millennial Karen. And here's the thing. These sometimes they're like whatever. Like you're like, okay, I kind of get the joke, but like you just forget about it. But the ones like the Soul Knife one that I just read, it undermines the class, in my opinion. Like you're a new D&D player and like you get this book and you're like, oh, Soul Knife, like that art looks cool and the concept looks cool, but then Tasha makes fun of it. And like undermines the coolness factor of it. And I'm like, this is so like, why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah. I wonder what the thought behind this was.
Yeah.
Are we like supposed to hate her? Is she gonna become like the
know.
new big bad of D&D?
Okay, last one. Oath of Glory. You're it.
Goodness,
You're
that
the
one
winner
was-
of the Cosmic Fortune Lottery. Oh, and you're going to tell absolutely everyone all about it? Just great. Like, what? What? Why? Why? Whatever. It's super minor. It's just... And these are all over the book, by the way. Not just in the subclass section. Everywhere.
They're all over.
Okay, and this is not the conversation we need to have now. But we do... There is a discussion about the format of the 5 ebooks. Because they're going with the root of each of these is a very, like, you know... Is very flavorful in their title and, like, their concept. You know, and it's not just a basic, like, new monsters manual, right? It's like Volo's Guide to Monsters, and he has all these little notes and stuff around it. And it's not just, like, new character, you know, subclass options. It's like, the Xanathar has all these, like, notes on things. And the titles are, you know, unique titles and fun titles instead of just, like, Monster Manual 1, Monster Manual 2, or however it is. It begs the question, you know, what is better? Is the flavor and fun of it, and, you know, a little expansion's kind of on the world as well, right? Should that take precedence over more boring and basic books, but that are, like, easier to follow and, let's be honest, kind of less annoying? Because as a new player, what Xanathar's Guide to Everything doesn't mean anything to you. That could have anything in it.
Yeah, you don't care who Xanathar is, you just want to see what
Yeah,
you could be
but
playing.
if it's called Player's Handbook 2 or whatever, then you're like, oh, it's going to have more stuff for players, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm not saying I prefer one or the other necessarily, because that way is, you know, much more boring and basic. It's just, it seems like they're going down this route. And so, you know, that's just a conversation that, it is a conversation.
This is
and I
also a
think
thing in how abilities are written. I guess they, like, learned from, like, 4E that they went too hard into the gamey aspect of it.
Yeah.
Wording and formatting. But some abilities are just written in a way that is so... Like... It just doesn't work as a rule book necessarily sometimes, you know? Sometimes the
Yeah.
wording, it just isn't clear enough. It isn't
Yeah.
precise
Yeah.
enough, and it's too
Yeah.
flowery when you're just trying to
Yeah.
describe how something works.
Yeah. But whatever. That's all a discussion for another time.
Yeah.
Final last thought for me. A lot of these subclasses show either the limits of 5th edition or the limits of Wizards of the Coast creativity, because many, as we went through them, are pretty basic, boring copy and paste versions of a million other features, and they just build off the basics of the system, like more damage, more healing, bonus to attack rolls, bonus to D20 rolls, right? Ability checks, whatever, attack rolls, saving throws. So many are just basically copies of a million other features that are just centered around the basics of the system. There are, of course, standouts, really unique things that build off of conditions or initiative, or, less used parts of the game that me and Gabe really like that. Or really unique twists on these things. But it just seems like so much stuff is just content for the sake of content. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have
Like,
to
just
wonder
more
if they feel like they're
damage.
forced to keep things like this.
Yeah. But like I'm just wondering, is it the limits of the system? Is it the limits of 5th edition, or is it just the limits of the creators? I don't really know.
I want to offer a third possibility. Perhaps it's the limits of the perceived audience. You know?
Yeah.
Like 5th edition was catered to a wider audience with simpler rules, with
Yeah.
easier to follow mechanics, to add more flavor, to make it less gamey, and more focused on roleplay, on storytelling, which is cool in its own right, and I love it. It's a vital part of the game. I wonder if they feel like they have to keep things simple with the core aspects of the game are the only things that are touched often, with rarely touching, the rarer aspects and mechanics, or adding new mechanics, or focusing on adding conditions, which is, to be honest, is inherently more complicated than subtracting hit points from a number.
No, I think you're 100% right. I think you're right. I think it's the limits of the perceived audience. Because a damage boost is just really simple, and it's easy for players to follow and to do. And also, at first glance, newer players who are looking through subclasses, that's what they're looking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you're 100% right. So it's really nobody's fault, I don't think. We love 5th edition. We love Wizards of the Coast. And, we love that it's made the hobby popular and everything, and D&D popular, and that's awesome. And I think you're right. And so I would like, though, once again, because this is an extra book, right? Because this is not a core or anything. This is added if you want to. They're beginning to even branch into optional class features and stuff. You know what I mean? For people, like us, and a lot of people, who maybe just, they do want more of that uniqueness and stuff in their games and things. Yeah. That's kind of the main takeaway, though, of these subclasses. We still have so much more to cover in this book. And we will, next episode. Do you have any closing thoughts?
I want to apologize for how negative we are sometimes.
We're so negative sometimes.
We just want the best for the game.
Yeah.
We just want the best.
It's something we care about. It's why Star Wars fans hate Star Wars. Because it's just, they care about it. You know what I mean? And so they want to have high expectations and stuff. And so do we. And this, this has a lot of cool things in it, there's definitely a lot of cool subclasses and things that we looked at today. And once again, the Artificer class is so cool and fun. I love that. But yeah, we can come across kind of negative, so,
Sorry about that. I don't know. Yeah. We might not change that. But before we leave off, thank you for listening. This has been a doozy of an episode. This is going to be very long. If you made it this far, congratulations. You've listened to us rant for 2 hours.
Yep.
Keep your eyes out for the next part of this.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Bye-bye.